Bienvenidos al module final de este curso de español, module 15, a un repaso de capítulo 4. Es el module para la preparación para el examen de capítulo 4. Toda la información entonces para un repaso bueno. Bueno, para empezar, un repaso del vocabulario. I think it's a great idea just to repeat one time all of the vocabulary in this capítulo, a lot of technology here, just to get a grasp of every place you've been in capítulo 4. Repitan, la tecnología, el hardware, la computadora, el autoparlante, el cable, el disco duro, la impresora, la memoria flash, el pendrive, el micrófono, el monitor, el ratón, la computadora portátil, los audífonos, el lector de CD-ROM o DVD, la pantalla, el puerto de USB, la tecla, el teclado, el software, la aplicación, el archivo PDF, el icono del programa, el juego interactivo, el programa antivirus, el programa de procesamiento de textos, funciones de la computadora, archivar, bajar, descargar, conectar, enviar, funcionar, grabar, guardar, hacer clic, hacer doble clic, instalar, subir, cargar. Los colores: amarillo, anaranjado, azul, blanco, café, marrón, gris, morado, negro, rojo, rosa, rosado, verde. Las emociones: aburrido, cansado, contento, enfermo, enojado, furioso, nervioso, ocupado, preocupado, seguro, triste. Aparatos electrónicos: la cámara digital, la cámara web, el GPS, el lector digital, el libro electrónico, el MP3 portátil, el reproductor de discos compactos, el grabador de discos compactos, el reproductor de DVD, el grabador de DVD, la tableta, el teléfono inteligente, el televisor de alta definición, la videocámara, funciones de Internet, acceder, el blog, el buzón electrónico, el buscador, chatear, el ciberespacio, la conexión, hacer una conexión, cortar la conexión, la contraseña, el correo electrónico, en línea, el enlace, el foro, el grupo de noticias, la página web, la red mundial, la red social, el sitio web, el usuario, la usuaria, el wifi, el wifi. Verbos como gustar, encantar, fascinar, importar, interesar, molestar. Otros verbos: cerrar, comenzar, contar, dormir, empezar, encontrar, entender, jugar, pedir, pensar de, pensar en, perder, poder, preferir, querer, repetir, sentir, servir, sonar, soñar, soñar con, volver. Adjetivos: difícil, fácil, lento, rápido. Adverbios: difícilmente, fácilmente, frecuentemente, generalmente, lentamente, normalmente, rápidamente, bastante, bien, demasiado, mal, mucho, muy, poco. Muy bien, ahora un repaso de la gramática. There are 4 partes para la gramática. Primero, la gramática útil 1, gusta, gustan y otros verbos como gustar. So let's begin by having a bit of a review. As you learned in capítulo 2, you can use gustar with an infinitive to say what activities are pleasing to people. Air quotes, what you and other people like to do. Por ejemplo, me gusta estudiar en la biblioteca, pero a Vicente le gusta estudiar en la cafetería. Air quotes, I like to study in the library, but Vicente likes to study in the cafeteria. Remember, however, this is really a backward construction. The subject is the activity and it reads backwards. So look at the sentence, start at the end. To study in the cafeteria is pleasing to him, to Vicente, but to study in the library is pleasing to me. That's why you don't see the subject pronoun yo, I, or tú, you. You don't see that because it is not I as the subject. The subject is the activity. Remember that when you use gustar plus an infinitive, you only use gusta. Les gusta comer en la cafetería. To eat in the cafeteria is pleasing to them. So you're only using the form gusta. So we're going to add to this understanding. You can also use gustar with nouns to say what things or things you and others like or dislike. In other words, what thing or things are pleasing to people. In this case, you use gusta with a single noun and gustan with plural nouns or a series of nouns. Once again, it's because of the backward structure of the sentence where the noun is actually the subject of the sentence. Let's take a look. You use gusta with a singular noun. ¿Te gusta esta computadora? Air quotes, do you like this computer? Remember, the sentence is actually, is this computer pleasing to you? Okay, it's backwards. The computer is pleasing to you. It's a singular form of gusta. Let's look what happens with a plural noun. Sí, pero me gustan más estas portátiles. Air quotes, yes, but I like these laptops more. What the sentence is really saying, the subject is these laptops. So it's really saying these laptops are more pleasing to me. Okay, that's why you have the gustan. That's why you have the plural form of gustar. If you had gusta, it'd be these laptops is pleasing to me. So that's what it's matching. It's matching the noun that follows gusta. And once again, to backtrack, remember that you use an indirect object pronoun in front of gusta or gustan to state to whom something is pleasing. For example, me, it's pleasing to me. Te, pleasing to you, familiar singular. Le, pleasing to him, her, or you, formal. Nos, who is it pleasing to? Us. Os, pleasing to you guys, you gals, you guys and gals. Les, to whom is the activity or items pleasing to? To them or to y'all. So you always have to have one of these indirect object pronouns right before the form of gusta, whether it's singular or plural. So let's see how these fit together. Me gusta tu archivo. Notice that's a singular item, so your file is pleasing to me. Me gustan las cámaras. The cameras are pleasing to me. Te gusta chatear. When you have an activity to chat is pleasing to you. Whether it's one or more activities, it is always the singular gusta. So you'll see that I have the singular as underlined with blue and the plural underlined with green. So remember that when you use gustar plus an infinitive, you only use gusta. So chatear, as we noted, is only used with the singular. A ellos les gusta comer en la cafetería. A mí me gusta tomar café y comer en la cafetería. Let's continue. Te gustan tus fotos? Your pictures are pleasing to you, plural. Le gusta el buscador. The search engine is pleasing to him, her, you, formal. Le gustan los foros. The forums are pleasing to him, her, you, formal. Nos gusta el Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is pleasing to us. Nos gustan los blogs. The blogs are pleasing to us. Os gusta bajar fotos. To download photos is pleasing to you guys, you gals. And remember, that's an activity, always takes the singular. Os gustan vuestros fotos. So you guys' photos are pleasing to you guys. Okay? You're really liking your pictures. Les gusta su tableta. So his, her, your formal tablet is pleasing to them. Les gustan los audífonos. The headphones are pleasing to them or to you all. So remember, gusta or gustan matches what comes after it. You have to read the sentence backwards. When you make negative sentences with gustan, you use no before the pronoun. So the me, te, le, and the gusta have to stay stuck together. Let's take a look. Nos gustan los programas de diseño gráfico, pero no nos gustan los programas de arte, air quotes. We like the graphic design programs, but we don't like the art programs. Read it as it really is from backwards. So the art programs are not pleasing to us, but the programs of graphic design are pleasing to us. So get the idea that the subject is actually that noun, the item that is being liked by someone. Let's do another review now of the clarifiers. As you've learned, if you want to emphasize or clarify who likes something, you use a plus the name or the noun, or a plus a prepositional pronoun, el, ella, etc. Note that when a plus the prepositional pronoun is used, there's often no direct translation in English. Notice that except for me, mi with an accent in t, the prepositional pronouns are the same as the subject pronouns. So let's take a look at the clarifiers. For me, only a mí, and that's just for emphasis, always clearly understood. If you say me gusta, it's always only pleasing to me. Te, again for emphasis, a ti te gusta, el archivo, the file is pleasing to you. Once again for emphasis, very clear, te gusta is only pleasing to you. Le, this is where it gets confusing, so we could use clarifiers a usted, a él, a Roberto, a ella, a la estudiante, etc. Nos, a nosotros, a nosotras. It could also be a Miguel y a mí. You might want to be more specific about who the we group is. Os, a vosotros, a vosotras. It could also be a Miguel y a ti. So it could be you and Miguel, you guys. Okay, you might want to be more specific. Les is also confusing. Clarifiers a ustedes, to y'all, a ellos, a ellas, a los estudiantes, a Ana y Sara, etc. A Ana y a Sara. You should have the a in front of each individual noted. So let's put it all together. And we'll start with our indirect object pronoun. And notice the underlined section. Okay, we have a singular. My laptop is pleasing to me, a mí, the clarifier. A mí me gusta mi portátil. Te gustan los libros, plural. The books are pleasing to you, a ti te gustan los libros for emphasis. We have le gusta bajar fotos, singular form because it's an activity. So there's our singular. So to download photos is pleasing to, and we really need to clarify. For example, a usted le gusta bajar fotos, a él le gusta bajar fotos, a ella le gusta bajar fotos, for clarity. Nos gusta comer y beber, singular because they're activities. A nosotros, a nosotras, to clarify. Os gustan las clases. We have plural. The classes are pleasing to you guys. A vosotros, a vosotras, os gustan, for clarity. And finally, les gusta su profesor. So their teacher is pleasing to them. A ustedes les gusta su profesor. So to you all, your teacher is pleasing to y'all, for example. A ellos les gusta su profesor. Their teacher is pleasing to them. Here's some examples. A mí me gustan los MP3 portátiles, pero a Elena no le gustan. So we can see that we have the plural of gustan because this is actually having to do with laptops. Laptops are pleasing to me, but not pleasing to Elena. Air quotes, I like MP3 players, but Elena doesn't like them. Another example. A ella le gustan los teléfonos inteligentes que también tocan MP3. A ella, the clarifier with le, gustan teléfonos, the plural. So the smartphones are pleasing to her, the clarifier a ella. Air quotes, she likes smartphones that also play MP3s. Y ahora, otros verbos como gustar. Verbs that act like gustar and use mete, le, etc. A number of other Spanish verbs are used just like gustar. These verbs are usually just used in two forms, the singular and the plural, just like gustar. Let's take a look at what they are. Repitan, por favor. Encantar. Encantar. Me encanta la tecnología. Me encanta la tecnología. So really pleasing to someone. Repitan. Fascinar. Fascinar. A Ana le fascinan esos sitios web. A Ana le fascinan esos sitios web. Those websites are fascinating to her, to Anna. Repitan. Importar. Importar. Nos importa tener acceso a Internet. Nos importa tener acceso a Internet. To have access to the Internet is important to us. Repitan. ¿Te importa si usamos la computadora? ¿Te importa si usamos la computadora? If we use the computer is important to you, and we're going to learn in a moment that that's how you would, one way you would make a polite request. Does it matter to you? Is it okay with you if we use the computer? Repitan. Interesar. Interesar. A ellos les interesan las redes sociales. A ellos les interesan las redes sociales. The social networks are interesting to them. Repitan. Molestar. Molestar. Nos molestan las computadoras lentas. Nos molestan las computadoras lentas. Slow computers are bothersome to us. Notice that the connotation of that word, molestar, is not as harsh. It just means bothersome in Espanol. So let's look at some examples. Repitan. Me interesan mucho estos celulares. Notice the plural. Air quotes, I'm very interested in these cell phones. Real translation, these cell phones are very interesting to me. Repitan. ¿No te molesta la mala recepción aquí? Notice it's singular because it's a singular reception. So air quotes, doesn't the bad reception here bother you? The actual translation, the bad reception here isn't bothersome to you. We'll look at the example of the picture in the book. Les encanta la nueva computadora. Singular form of encanta, the new computer, is really pleasing to them. A few notes. In Spanish-speaking cultures, courtesy is of utmost importance. It is very common to use phrases like le importa or le molesta to ask someone a question. Le importa, si uso la computadora, would be more likely heard than voy a usar la computadora or puedo usar la computadora. So in other words, the question, is it important to you if I use the computer, would be more likely heard than I'm going to use the computer or I'm able to use the computer. It's also common to use por favor when asking a question and gracias upon receiving the answer. So a few tips on being courteous. Other common expressions of courtesy. Repitan por favor. Perdón. Perdón. Disculpe. Disculpe. Lo siento. Lo siento. So someone says, pardon me, or excuse me, or I'm sorry, and you can answer and say, repitan, no hay de qué. No hay de qué. No se preocupe. No se preocupe. So no problem, think nothing of it. Don't worry yourself. Don't preoccupy, worry yourself. Repitan, con permiso. Con permiso. You want to try to get by somebody, it's a tight aisleway. Excuse me, con permiso, with your permission, please. And then you might answer, repitan, como no. Como no. Of course, you'd let them by. Ahora, un repaso de la gramática útil 2, el verbo estar, the verb to be. Bien, el verbo estar. Estar means to be, but more specifically, I want you to think about being able to add feeling or located to the expression to be, so to be feeling or to be located somewhere. And here are the forms of estar in the present indicative tense. So I am feeling well, not I was feeling a certain way or I will be, but present tense. I am at school, not I was at school, I will be at school, but I am, present tense. Repitan, por favor. Yo estoy. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Tú estás. Usted está. Él está. Ella está. Nosotros estamos. Nosotras estamos. Vosotros estáis. Vosotras estáis. Ustedes están. Ellos están. Ellas están. Repitan, ¿cómo estás? Yo estoy bien. ¿Dónde están ustedes? Nosotros estamos en casa. Keep in mind when you ask a question in the tú form, the response is in the yo form. How are you? I am fine. Keep in mind when you ask how are you all or where are you all, when you ask a question of you all, the response is going to be we, nosotros. So in the book, and we'll see the video later, Imagínate, you learn some adjectives that are commonly used with estar to describe physical and emotional conditions. So repitan, por favor. Él está aburrido. Ella está cansada. Nosotros estamos contentos. Ellos están enfermos. ¿Tú estás enojada? Yo estoy furioso. Él está nervioso. Ella está ocupada. Vosotros estáis preocupados. Ustedes están seguras. Ella está triste. And just like we practiced, don't forget that when you use adjectives with estar, as with any other verb, they need to agree with the person or thing they are describing in both gender and number. Por ejemplo, repitan, los estudiantes están preocupados por Miguel. Elena está nerviosa a causa del examen. Now that you've been working with how to conjugate the verb estar, let's look at las diferencias entre estar y el verbo ser. Describing yourself and others and expressing conditions and locations, the verb estar, and the uses of ser versus estar. So here we have la foto. Estoy muy aburrida con tu cuento trágico. I'm very bored with your tragic tale. You already know that the verb ser is translated as to be in English. You've already used the verb estar, which is also translated as to be, in expressions like ¿cómo estás? While both these Spanish verbs mean to be, they are used in different ways. Let's take a look first at the verb estar. Número uno, use estar to express location of people, places, or objects. Por ejemplo, repitan, la profesora Suárez está en la biblioteca. Los libros están en la mesa. Notice for each of these you could say, Professor Suarez is located in the library. The books are located on the table. So if you can actually add the word located, you know that it's estar. Estar is also used to talk about physical condition. Repitan, ¿cómo está usted? Estoy muy bien, gracias. Yo estoy un poco cansada. Now in this case, you can add the word feeling. How are you feeling? I am feeling very well, thanks. I am feeling a little tired. So if you can add the word feeling to your translation, you know it takes estar. And finally, to talk about emotional conditions, and again, this is going to use feeling. So repitan, el señor Albrega está un poco nervioso hoy. Estoy muy ocupada esta semana. So Señor Albrega is feeling a little nervous today. I am feeling very busy this week. So once again, you use the verb estar to express location, to talk about physical condition, and to talk about emotional condition. So remember that. If you can add located or feeling, it's the verb estar. Now, all the other reasons, if they are not for the purpose of feeling or being located somewhere, take ser. Let's take a look at them specifically. You use ser to identify yourself and others. Repitan, soy Ana y esta es mi hermana Luisa. You use ser to indicate profession. Repitan, Pablo Picasso es un artista famoso. You use ser to describe personality traits and physical features. So these are descriptions. They aren't something that's changing. This is a characteristic that is a permanent characteristic. Repitan, somos altos y delgados. Somos buenos estudiantes. You use ser to give the time and date. Repitan, es la una. Hoy es miércoles. The first one being time, the second one the day or the date. You use ser to indicate nationality and origin. Repitan, ¿eres española, no? Sí, soy de España. You use ser to express possession with de. Repitan, este celular es de Anita. Y finalmente, you use ser to give the location of an event. Repitan, la fiesta es en la residencia estudiantil. Now, the last one can be a little bit confusing because you could actually put the word located in there. The party is located in the student residence. However, think to yourself, it's an event. So you use located with estar, except for when you're talking about an event. So let's recap. Use ser to identify, to give a profession, to describe personality traits and physical features that are non-changing, for time and date, nationality and origin, possession with be, and for the location of an event. Let's just do a summary here. Use the verb ser to identify people, indicate professions and occupations, describe personality traits, physical features, time and date, nationality and origin, express possession with de, and the location of an event. The verb ser a little bit easier, express location and talk about how somebody is feeling physically or emotionally. So something is located or someone is feeling a certain way. Continuamos con un repaso de la gramática útil 3, stem changing verbs. So when we go to our grammar topic, talking about everyday events, stem changing verbs in the present indicative. You're talking once again about things you are doing right now, present. In chapters 1 and 2, you learned the present indicative forms of regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. For example, nadar, comer, vivir, to swim, to eat, to live. How do you conjugate AR verbs? Well, you chop off the AR, you start with the stem, and what endings do you add? Nado, nadas, nada, nadamos, nadais, nadan, oas, amos, aisan. How about for ER verbs? Chop off the ER and you add o, es, hemos, eis, en. Just like our AR verbs, except for instead of a's, you have e's. And what about IR verbs? Vivir, por ejemplo. You chop off the IR, you have your stem or root, and you add o, es, imos, is, en. Very similar to the ER verbs, with the exception of the nosotros and vosotros forms, imos and is. Now, there are other Spanish verbs that use the same endings as regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. So you see those endings in red. These verbs are going to use the same endings, but there's a change in the stem. So you'll see the first part of the verbs that are conjugated, the first part after you chop off the AR, ER, and IR, that's called the stem. So in the verbs we're about to see, there's a change in that stem. But remember that the stem is the part of the infinitive that's left after you remove that. The endings are going to be the same as you see above. It's just that stem that's going to change. Stem changing verbs do not follow the pattern of regular verbs. When a stem changing verb is conjugated, the stem changes for 4 of the 6 subjects. Nosotros and vosotros stay regular. So these are the 3 categories of stem changing verbs in the present tense. We have verbs that in the stem will change, the O will change to a UE. We have verbs that within the stems, the E changes to an IE, for example, preferir. And we have verbs where the E changes to I, for example, pedir. So let's look at how this works. Let's start with the O to UE changing. So notice the verb encontrar. Notice the O in the stem. After you chop off the AR, you will have ENCONTR. Look at the O, and that O is going to change to UE in 4 of the forms. Let's take a look. Yo encuentro. That O has changed to UE. Tú encuentras. Él, ella, usted encuentra. Notice what happens for nosotros and vosotros. It is a regular conjugation. Chop off the AR and add amos to the stem, or add ais to the stem. Nothing changes within that stem. No O to UE. And let's go back now to the ustedes, ellos, ellas form. There's that change again. Encuentran. So say that after me, por favor. Encuentro, encuentras, encuentra, encontramos, encontráis, encuentran. Notice the endings. They're AR endings, just like we had seen in the previous slide, our regular AR endings, just the change in the stem for 4 of the 6 forms. Let's go on now to the E to IE changing. Preferir, to prefer. Now the E that's going to do the changing is the E that is closest to the ending. So we chop off the IR. We're left with prefer as our stem, P-R-E-F-E-R. The second E closest to the ending is going to change to IE. Let's take a look. Prefiero, prefieres, prefiere. What's going to happen to nosotros and vosotros? Regular conjugation, chop off the IR. Preferimos, preferís, no change in the stem, no E to IE in that stem. Back to the changing with the 4th form. Prefieren. Repitan, por favor. Prefiero, prefieres, prefiere, preferimos, regular, preferís, regular conjugation, prefieren. Okay, notice the endings. We chop off the IR, and we're adding the regular IR endings, OS, A, imos, is, en. We only have the change in the 4 stems. Let's go to the last one, E to I. So we're looking at the verb pedir. We chop off the IR, we're left with the stem, PED. In 4 of the 6 forms, that E is going to change to I. Let's have a look. Pido, pides, pide. Now our 2 regulars. Pedimos, pedís. Back to our irregular. Piden. Repitan, por favor. Pido, pides, pide. Pedimos, pedís, piden. Notice the endings. We've taken the IR endings, OSA, imos, is, en, and 4 of those 6 forms have the change in the stem. That E has changed to I. So for a quick recap here, to review, there are 3 types of stem changing verbs, E to IE, O to UE, and E to I. And which 2 forms stay the same? Nosotros and vosotros are regular conjugations. Stem changing verbs are often referred to as boot verbs. In the chart, the boxes shaded in blue highlight the forms of cerrar that have a stem change. Note the boot-like shape. So that's why they're called stem-changing boot verbs. Note that the stem changes in all forms except for nosotros, nosotras, and vosotras, vosotras, which gives us that boot form. So now, let's take a look at some commonly used Spanish verbs that experience a stem change in the present indicative tense. We'll first look at the E to IE. Repitan, por favor. Cerrar. Cerrar. And you should remember this. Cierra la puerta was one of our commands way back at the beginning of our course. Repitan. Comenzar. Comenzar. Empezar. Empezar. Both of which mean to begin. You can think of a commencement. That's when you begin the rest of your life. Empezar, to begin. Repitan. Entender. Entender. Pensar de. Pensar en. Pensar de, to think of, have an opinion about. Pensar en, to think about, to think in that idea, okay? You're more pensive thinking about something than thinking of it. Repitan, perder, perder, preferir, preferir, querer, querer, sentir, sentir. So you may remember sentir, lo siento, means I feel it, lo siento. So let's just think of the yo form of each of those, and let's think about that E changing to IE as you pronounce them. Repitan, yo cierro, yo comienzo, yo empiezo, yo entiendo, yo pienso de, yo pienso en, yo pierdo, yo prefiero, yo quiero, yo siento. So notice when the E changes to IE, it moves from cerrar to cier, ie. You have that sound. See how many you might remember now? ¿Cómo se dice to close? Cerrar. To begin, that starts with the letter C. Comenzar. To begin, that starts with the letter E. Empezar. To understand. Entender. Entender. To think of or have an opinion about. Pensar de. When you're pensive, you're thinking, right? Think of, pensar de. To think about. Pensar en, pensar en. To lose. Perder, perder. To prefer. Preferir, preferir. To want or to love. Querer, querer. To feel. Sentir, sentir. So notice the E is changing to IE. For yo, tú, usted, él, ella. Nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras is a regular stem changing, a regular verb. And the E changes to IE for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So repitan por favor. Prefiero, prefieres, prefiere. Preferimos, preferís, prefieren. Querer is going to work in the same way. The E changes to IE. Yo quiero, tú quieres, usted, él, ella quiere, nosotros, nosotras queremos, a regular conjugation, vosotros, vosotras queréis, regular. Continue now to the next batch of stem changing verbs, the O to UE. Repitan, contar, contar, dormir, dormir, encontrar, encontrar, jugar, jugar, Notice that jugar is in with the O to UE stem changing verbs. In this case, it's the only verb where the U changes to UE, so it goes in with this batch as it follows the same rules. Continuing now, poder, poder, sonar, sonar, soñar, soñar con, volver, volver. So as we go through the verbs, try to think about how you can connect them. Contar, it looks like the word to count, doesn't it? Dormir, you can see a dorm there, dormitory where you sleep. Encontrar, think of encountering something, to find, to encounter. Jugar, to play. A juego is how you say the word for game, el juego. Poder as a noun means power, el poder. And yo puedo, maybe you heard Dora the Explorer, yo puedo, I can, I'm able to. Think of sonar, ringing, going off, making sound, sonar. Soñar is to dream. Un sueño, a sueño is the noun for dream, el sueño. Volver, take a look at those two V's and think of two boomerangs. The V, going back and coming back. Volver, to return. Let's just say the yo form so you can get the hang of it. Yo cuento, duermo, encuentro, juego, puedo, sueño, sueño, vuelvo. So see if you can come up with them now. Como se dice to tell, to relate, or to count? Contar, to sleep. Dormir, think of the dorm room. To find. Encontrar, think of encountering something. To play. Jugar, to be able to. Poder, to have the power, poder. To ring, to go off, like an alarm clock or phone. Sonar, think of sonar. To dream or to dream about. Soñar, soñar con. And to return, think of the two V's, the two boomerangs. Volver. Let's take a look at the conjugations. First, we'll start with dormir. It's an IR verb. Think about what endings will go with the IR verb. And remember that O, that's blue, changes to a UE. Como se dice I sleep? Yo duermo. Tú duermes. Él, ella, usted duerme. Now our regular nosotros, vosotros, remember it's an IR verb. Nosotros dormimos. Vosotros dormís. Ellos, ellas, ustedes duermen. Let's look at an example of an AR verb. Contar, to count. Yo cuento. Tú cuentas. AR verbs, so the AR endings are applying. El, ella, usted cuenta. Nosotros, vosotros, regular conjugations. Nosotros contamos. Vosotros contáis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes cuentan. Okay, in our last batch, you'll be happy to know there are only 3 that we're working with. E to I. Repitan, por favor. Pedir. Pedir. Repetir. Repetir. Servir. Servir. So pedir means to ask for something, like, for example, you're in a restaurant. ¿Qué vas a pedir? What are you going to ask for? What are you going to order? Repetir is a nice cognate, and so is servir. So, ¿cómo se dice en español to ask for something? Pedir. To repeat. Repetir. To serve. servir. So let's take a look at the conjugation. We'll start with repetir. Notice it's an IR verb, so the IR verb endings will pertain. And the E that is closest to the ending is the one that changes. So, como se dice, I repeat, yo repito, tú repites, él y usted repite. Nosotros, vosotros are going to be regular. Nosotros repetimos. Vosotros repetís. There are the IR endings. Ellos, ellos, ustedes repiten. So notice in the boot, the E changes to I. Try one more. Servir. Yo sirvo. Tú sirves. Él y usted sirve. Nosotros servimos. Vosotros servís. Ellos, ellos, ustedes sirven. And the last of the sections for la gramática es la gramática útil 4, los adverbios. So let's talk about adverbs. An adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Sometimes adjectives can also be used as adverbs. For example, fast. Generally, rapidly, and very are all adverbs. You can identify an adverb by asking the question, how? So let's break this down. Many Spanish adverbs end in mente, which is equivalent to the English ending ly. To form this type of adverb, take the adjective and add mente. Por ejemplo, easy becomes easily. Repitan, fácil, fácilmente. So easy, that's an easy activity. Okay, that is an adjective. It's describing a noun. Easily describes a verb. So he runs easily. She works easily on that chapter. And that's describing activities. If the adjective ends in O, change the O to A before adding mente. So we have lento changing to lentamente. Lento is slow. So something is slow. The door is slow. El puerto es lento. It's a slow door. So the door closes, cierra lentamente. So now you're describing the verb. That's why it's called an adverb. It closes slowly. So you could say the dog is slow, the dog walks slowly. El perro es lento. El perro camina lentamente. So note that adjectives do not lose their written accents when you add mente. When you want to say how an activity is carried out, slowly, thoroughly, generally, you use an adverb. And again, it describes an activity. It's describing a verb. Let's take a look. Generalmente, prefiero usar una contraseña secreta. Generally, I prefer to use a secret password. So you're describing how you prefer something. You prefer that generally. You're describing an activity, a verb. Another ejemplo, escribo más rápido, or you could say escribo más rápidamente en computadora que con bolígrafo. I write more rapidly on the computer than I do with a pen. Muy is also an adverb. Este programa es muy lento. It's describing how slow. How slow is it? It's muy lento. So if it answers the question how, it's an adverb. This program is very slow. How slow? Very slow. Here are some frequently used Spanish adjectives that can be turned into mente adverbs. Repitan, por favor. Fácil, fácilmente. Difícil, difícilmente. Lento, lentamente, rápido, rapidamente. So notice that the masculine singular form of the adjective for lento and rápido ends in an O. So you're going to change that to an adverb by changing the O to an A. Lentamente, rápidamente. Remember, this doesn't have to do with something that's masculine or feminine. It's just the conversion of that adjective to the adverb. The following mente adverbs are also useful to talk about your routine and what you do normally. Repitan, frecuentemente, frecuentemente, generalmente, generalmente, normalmente, normalmente. And here are some other common Spanish adverbs. Repitan, por favor. Bastante, bastante. Este sistema es bastante lento. This system is somewhat or rather slow. Repitan, bien. Tu computadora funciona bien. Your computer functions well. So how does your computer function? It functions well. Repitan, demasiado. Demasiado. Navego demasiado por internet. So I surf too much. I surf the internet too much. So how much do you surf the internet? How? Too much. Repitan, mal. Mi cámara web funciona muy mal. So my web camera functions very poorly. So how does it function? Poorly, badly. Repitan, mucho. Me gustan mucho los juegos interactivos. So interactive games are really pleasing to me. How pleasing are they? Very pleasing, a lot. Repitan, muy. Guardo archivos muy frecuentemente. I save files very frequently. How frequently? How frequently? Very frequently. Repitan, poco. Little. Chateo poco por internet. So I chat a little by internet. So how much do you chat? I chat a little. So un repaso, just repitan por favor. So kind of get these logged into your mind. Repitan, difícilmente, difícilmente, fácilmente, fácilmente, frecuentemente, frecuentemente, generalmente, generalmente, lentamente, lentamente, normalmente, normalmente, rápidamente, rápidamente, bastante, bastante, bien, bien, demasiado, demasiado, mal, mal, mucho, mucho, muy, muy, poco, poco. So, ¿qué significa en inglés? So tell me what they mean in English. Difícilmente, with difficulty. Fácilmente, easily. Frecuentemente, frequently. Generalmente, generally. Lentamente, slowly. Normalmente, normally, rápidamente, quickly, rapidly, bastante, fairly or rather, bastante bien, fairly well, rather well, bien, well, demasiado, too much, mal, poorly, mucho, a lot, muy, very, poco, a little. Y la parte final de este repaso para el examen es la cultura. España y la cantante, the singer, Buica. You take a look at el mapa, you'll see that España is located north of Africa in Europe, and you will see the area that is darkened to the left, the small area that is the white section is Portugal, and together Spain and Portugal make up the Iberian Peninsula. So Spain is to the very southwest area of Europe. España es el único país europeo donde el español es la lengua oficial. Spain is the only European country where Spanish is the official language. Este país forma la península ibérica con Portugal y tiene costas en el Atlántico, el mar Mediterráneo y el mar Cantábrico. También las grandes extensiones montañosas, entre ellas las Pirineos y Sierra Nevada. So there are mountainous sections in Spain. Spain is a very dry country. In the north, in the northern part, close to the Mar Cantábrico in the north, is a mountain range that separates the majority of Spain from the northern section. The northern section is called España Verde, green Spain. That's really the only section where there's a lot of moisture and rainfall. So a few statistics. The país, the área, España, shows the area in kilometers. 499 kilómetros. The tamaño y fronteras, so the borders and frontiers. España es un poco más de 2 veces el área de Oregón, a little more than 2 times the size of Oregon. Fronteras con Portugal, Francia y Andorra, so the borders with Portugal, France, and Andorra. Y Marruecos, so Morocco is to the south, bordering across the Mediterranean Sea. Places of interest, sitios de interés, la Alhambra, el Museo del Prado, el Museo Guggenheim, las Islas Canarias, and las Islas Baleares. These 2 island areas are part of Spain. Canarias are in the Mediterranean to the east of España, Baleares, and the Canarias, Islas Canarias, are to the west of the northern area of Africa. So, di si las siguientes oraciones son ciertas o falsas based on what you have now learned about Spain. Say whether these sentences are true or false. España está situada completamente en Europa. Is Spain completely in Europe? Cierto, sí. Número 2. Varios grupos de islas también forman parte de España. So there's some groups of islands that form part of Spain. Is that true or false? And that is cierto. Islas Baleares y Islas Canarias. Número 3. Hay unos museos importantes de España. Some important museums in Spain. That would be true. El Prado y Guggenheim. Y 4. España es más pequeña que Oregón. That is false. So it is not smaller than Oregon. It is a little more than 2 times the area of Oregon. Muy bien, aquí tenemos un mapa de España. So notice Spain bordered by Portugal to the west, France to the northeast, the small country of Andorra, also to the northeast. Notice the Islas Baleares, Balearic Islands to the east, part of Spain in the Mediterranean Sea. The Canary Islands, Islas Canarias, that you'll see in the lower left-hand corner, they are located farther south to the west coast of Africa. Información general, the nombre oficial de España es Reino de España. Población más de 46 millones. Capital de España es Madrid, fundado en el siglo X, so founded in the 900s. Más de 3 millones de habitantes. Otras ciudades importantes, Barcelona, Valencia y Toledo, Sevilla. La moneda es el euro. Idiomas castellano, catalán, vasco y gallego. Spain is often seen as one big culture when in fact it is the amalgamation of former kingdoms and separate regions. Many of these are autonomous states and have separate languages and/or dialects and distinct cultural customs. Spanish is referred to as castellano in areas where there is an additional native language. Typically, these are bilingual zones. So in the northeast Basque country, they speak a different dialect, and they'll speak Catalan in other regions of Spain. A tener cuenta, things to keep in mind. El Imperio Español fue el primer imperio global y uno de los más grandes en toda la historia mundial. So the Spanish Empire was the first global empire, one of the the largest in all of world history. En su apogeo, España tenía territorios en todos los continentes menos en la Antártida. So in its peak, Spain had territories in every continent, with the exception, minus the Antarctic. España ha producido muchos artistas ilustres. Spain has produced many illustrious artists. En literatura se distingue Miguel de Cervantes, escritor de El ingenioso hidalgo Don Quijote de la Mancha, que se considera la primera novela moderna. So I don't know if you've heard of, in literature, Miguel Cervantes, the writer of Don Quijote de la Mancha, considered the first modern novel. So here you will see the cover of Don Quixote de la Mancha. Don Quixote is the tall, skinny one, and Sancho Panza is his sidekick. He came along with him, and he's the shorter one. You'll see to the right the portrayal of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza by Pablo Picasso. Continuing a tener en cuenta, keeping in mind, en las artes, los grandes maestros de la pintura española están Diego Velázquez y Francisco de Goya. So in the arts, the grand masters of painting, Spanish painting, Diego Velázquez, Francisco de Goya. So here you can see paintings of Velázquez. You can notice his style. He did a lot of paintings for the royal families. And here we have Francisco de Goya. Y continuamos en el siglo XX. Pablo Picasso, Juan Miró y Salvador Dalí están entre los innovadores más importantes del arte moderno. So if you did any studying of modern art, these names might be familiar: Picasso, Miró, and Salvador Dalí. Here we have some of Picasso's work from 1881 to 1973. He went through different periods during his painting. You can see them there to the left. Miró, 1893 to 1983. Again, this is modern art. And Salvador Dalí, uno de mis favoritos. Sort of dreamlike, his work. Y los musulmanes vivieron en la península desde 711 hasta 1492. So the Muslims lived on the peninsula from those years, 711 to 1492. La arquitectura árabe de ese periodo está presente en todo el sur de España, en particular en Granada, Córdoba y Sevilla. So because the Muslims that had come from Morocco, from the northern part of Africa, lived in the southern part of Spain, to this day you can see the architecture, the Arab influence in the architecture, especially in these three particular cities. Those cities being Granada, Córdoba, and Sevilla. Notice how close they are to the crossing of the Mediterranean from Morocco. En resumen, let's see what you remember. ¿Qué país fue el primer imperio global? Which country was the first global empire? España. ¿En qué continentes tenía territorios España? In what continents did Spain have territories? En todos los continentes menos Antártida, so all continents minus Antarctic. Número 3. ¿Quién es el autor de la primera novela moderna? Cervantes, the writer of Don Quixote de la Mancha, the author of the first modern novel. Número 4. ¿Quiénes son los grandes maestros de la pintura española? Velázquez and Goya, the two masters of Spanish painting. 5. ¿Quiénes son los artistas españoles que se consideran innovadores del arte moderno? Remember the modern artists? Picasso, Miró, and Dalí. Y finalmente, ¿qué 3 ciudades españolas tienen arquitectura árabe? Do you remember any of the cities in the south, 3 of them there? Granada, Córdoba, and Sevilla. You can see the Arab influence in the architecture. Y otra vez, por favor, lee conmigo. Concha Buica, conocida profesionalmente como Buica, es una cantante española, hija de ecuatoguineanos y una maravillosa estudiante de todos los estilos musicales del mundo: boleros, flamenco, jazz, funk, soul y el ritmo africano. Todos forman parte de su obra musical. Además, le fascinan los ritmos electrónicos y dice que para ella sus joyas son los aparatos electrónicos que utiliza para hacer música. Con sus ritmos globales y su uso de la tecnología, Buica es una artista universal que rompe todas las barreras. Muy bien, algunas preguntas de Buica. Número 1. ¿De dónde son los padres de Buica? Mira la línea 2. You'll see hija de ecuatoguineanos. So los padres son de Guinea Ecuatorial. Número 2. ¿Qué estilos musicales incorpora Buica en su obra musical? En líneas 3 y 4, ella incorpora boleros, flamenco, jazz, funk, soul y ritmo africano. Número 3. ¿Qué considera Buica sus joyas? En las 3 líneas finales dice que las joyas son, or the jewels of her work, los aparatos electrónicos que se usa para hacer música, that she uses to make music. Y finalmente, 4, ¿qué hace de Buika una artista universal? What does she use to make her a universal artist? En la línea casi final, almost the last one, con sus ritmos globales y su uso de la tecnología, hace Buika una artista universal. Muy bien, bravo, mis estudiantes. Es el fin de Module 15A y el fin del curso. Buen trabajo y buena suerte con el examen.